Okay, this is probably a very unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it, and I'd love to hear your honest thoughts on it. Because all these opinions are meant to be just shared and kind of developed with a community versus like, I'm right, you're wrong. So I think I'm pretty hopeful about U.S. politics right now, which sounds crazy with everything going on. I know there's a lot of bad stuff going on right now in the world, in the U.S. as well. But there's one reason I'm very hopeful about U.S. politics because something is happening that I've not seen happen in a very long time. Um, what is happening? Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you, Therese Allen, for the subscribe. I'm not even live right now. I guess the chat box just works like that. So basically, what I'm going to say is originally in politics, we had Fox News, CNN. These are the two primary sources we got for our media. You want right wing news, you go to Fox News. You want left wing, you go to CNN. And these were both like kind of the big only credible sources of information years and years ago. Now a lot has changed. Social media is a great and probably the most used source for news. And this pivot was really made during Trump. When Trump got elected in 2016, he's a businessman. He understands branding. I'm not going to be stating my opinion on him in this video, but I'm just telling you what he did was change the social media landscape. And basically, people started to really rely on social media and external parties of news versus Fox News and CNN. Now, this started founding two movements that I'm going to be talking about. One movement, first, on the left, that got a lot of power, which is someone like, I don't know if Hassan is the face of the movement, but Hassan Piker, or Hassan Abi, is I would describe as pretty radical leftist in comparison to CNN or something like that. Probably even like a socialist. And basically, he created a space for you to be like, yo, I'm left wing. I don't like CNN, but I'm still left wing. I don't think they're left enough, and I can criticize the big left wing representation while still being left wing, which was very, very important and good. The reason it was good was because people want permission to be represented. And the only permission people had to be represented was the big left-wing media of CNN, right? And CNN could say whatever they want. And if you disagree with CNN at the time, it's hard for you to really identify yourself still as a leftist. Now, Hassan and a lot of this left-wing movement on the side said, hey, you can still be a leftist. You can still be on the side and not identify with the center stage example of leftism in CNN. And this is another kind of movement that's not going to dick suck CNN. We're going to talk about our values. We're going to talk about what we care about. And we're going to stand on that. And we're not going to just blindly side with whatever we see as the big representation for left media. So it created more accountability within the left-wing sphere. However, what it didn't create was unity. Because now it's like the left wing operates with a huge amount of purity culture. I don't know if that's the right word in this context, but basically, if you're not 100% agreeing with me, you're screwed. And because of that, it's hard for left wingers on that side of the political landscape to band together to do anything. But it's really easy for them to come up with truthful conclusions because they don't have any ties to each other. Now, during the time the left wing is really having this big moment with Hassan Abis and all these left-wingers on the internet criticizing CNN and stuff like that, the right wing doesn't really have that. They blindly band together. You know, they are like, you know what, we're stronger together, which they're right about. Let's band together. I mean, they didn't like Trump at first, but then once Trump became the nominee, they banded together. They just said, you know what, this is better than the left wing, let's band together. And that's what got them to win the elections. That's what got them to win election after election, is the fact that, you know what, we don't agree with each other, but at least we're not the left wing. And I'm just giving information. I'm not giving my opinion on this. But what that also did was it had a lack of accountability within the right-wing party and the right-wing movement. Because if you didn't identify with Trump or you didn't identify with the recent representations of the right wing, you would be immediately ostracized. I mean, you can look at somebody like Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz hated Trump and then suddenly likes Trump. Marco Rubio hated Trump, suddenly likes Trump. J.D. Vance hated Trump, didn't have a career. Now he suddenly likes Trump. So if you don't identify with the current representation of the right wing, there is nowhere to go. So people's lives, because people have jobs being politicians, people's lives are in danger and at stake of them endorsing what is the current representation for right wing, which is whatever everyone's saying. So there's only one, basically, you're only allowed to have one opinion in the right wing party at this time. In the left wing, you're allowed to have a bunch of opinions. The pros of this is for the left wing, it creates a huge sense of accountability, because now I don't have to identify with an opinion if I don't agree with it, and I can still have a place to go. Right wing, there's no accountability, but people can win because people are banded together, and because of that, if you don't agree with Trump, if you don't like Trump at the time, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to be embraced. You're done. You're donezo, right? And that's not good, because we want people to have their opinions, and when we want people to express their opinions without being ostracized, right? But that was happening in the right wing. Now, what's happening now is we're seeing an influence of like global politics with the wars happening in the world, right? The Israel-Palestine war, right? And basically what's happening is there is a new crowd that it's not exactly new, but it's really gaining traction right now, which is the America First crowd, which is a little bit different than right wing. Right wing is, or the center right, the Fox News is, we don't care what race you are, just make money with us, capitalism, blah, blah, blah. That is at least what they try to bring, from what I'm understanding. The left wing, the right wing crowd now that's emerging is the America First crowd. The America First crowd is hosted by people like Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and it's right-wing crowd, but instead it's, hey, we prioritize Christianity first, we prioritize America first, we're not going to let any kind of influence happen within our politics. We don't care what race you are, we're not going to let, or we do care what race you are, we're not going to let any side of influence happen in our politics. Now, I'm not giving my opinion on this movement or any of the movements listed here. I'm trying not to give my opinion here. But what this does is it finally gives right-wingers a chance to criticize the status quo of the right wing, to criticize what's going on with having a place to go, the same way the left wing has been doing for years. And what this does is it creates accountability within the right-wing party. Do I agree with either? I'm okay. Like, I don't really agree with what's going on with what they believe, because freaking the America First people hate people like me. They hate Indians, bro. Like, I'm not, like, I obviously don't agree with it, but I'm telling you that what this does is it creates accountability within the right-wing party for the first time, which the left wing has had for a while. And this is going to be a struggle for the right wing, because it's going to be hard for them to band together. They're going to go through the same struggle that the left wing is going through. Because now people don't just blindly choose A or B. They don't choose red pill or blue pill, black or white, because now there's America First Republican. There's also just capitalism prioritizing Republican, which is money, money, money. I don't care what race you are. Then there's the center left, or like the moderate left, and then there's people like Hassan Abi, who are like socialist, right? But what this does is both parties are anchored for the first time in a long time. When it comes to the perspective of accountability, both parties are anchored, which you are seeing a perfect representation of this in the newest debate with Zoran, Sliwa, and Cuomo. I've never in my life seen a Republican and a socialist team up to beat a left-winger. So you got a Democrat and a Republican teaming up to beat a Democrat. Sliwa and Zoran pretty much tag team to beat Cuomo. Usually it's Democrat versus Republican. This is the first time a Democrat and a Republican have teamed up to beat a Democrat. Pretty much. Like, I've never seen that. And that shows the emergence of even though it's not official, the emergence of a four-party system in politics, where there's two strong movements. One's Hassan, one's Nick Fuentes, that are on the sidelines creating their own, motion, creating their own movement. And then you have Fox and CNN. And you have these four parties pretty much. Even though it's only two-party system, you have these four parties of ideologies that are growing strong enough for the next generation that I don't agree with a lot of what's going on. And trust me, they hate me. A lot of these people hate me probably for my religion or my race. And I'm not here to give my opinion too much on it because I don't believe that's productive to the conversation at this specific point in time. And I'm not here to, commend what people are talking about. I'm just happy the political, it's not a monolith. Like I don't know if I use that word correctly, but finally both sides are anchored. That's what I'm happy about. And because of that, we can actually express more freedom of thought. And we're going to see situations where the center right is going to be linking up with the center left against a socialist. Or you're going to see the socialists will be linking up with the America First crowd against a center left. Like, you're going to see teams emerging from both sides of the political sphere to tackle a more moderate version of the political sphere, which is really interesting. And I don't think that's ever happened before. And I think it's the rise of the internet gave freedom of thought and allowed these movements to form. Now, I just think we need more accountability in general in politics, and this is listen, we can't understand how we get there, but this is a way we're going to get there. And you might not like everyone being described here, and I definitely don't like everyone being described here, but at least I'm hopeful because of the accountability that it provides. I hope that helped. I don't know if I should upload this, but screw it. It's just my thoughts. I tried to give the most neutral perspective I can here. I'm sorry.